Hey guys, Andy McDermott here, joined by Hunter McIntyre, world famous OCR legend, old friend of mine that we met over YouTube back in Malibu. I don't know, 400 years ago. I think I was much younger looking. Hunter looks the same, except bigger and stronger now, and maybe a better mustache.
You
Hunter,
like
how you
this?
doing, man?
I'm good, dude. The mustache is part of a team event we have coming up, but I'm glad that you mentioned it because I've been working really hard. I have the worst mustache of the whole group.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. It would take me about 6 years to get a mustache like
That's
that.
how I felt, man.
So most people who will tune into my YouTube or social media will have some idea of who you are. But if you don't mind, I mean, besides me saying OCR legend and Tough Mudder and Broken Skull and all that stuff, can you give a quick background on yourself, all the stuff that you have accomplished over the last 5, 10 years? And I'm telling you to brag, so please brag about yourself a little bit.
All right, let me take a big breath on this one. Yeah, so I started my career in 2012 and quickly rose to the top, and I was on the podium at Spartan Race World Championships in 2013. And between 2013 and now 2023, I've amassed 9 world titles in a various amount of sports through obstacle racing, high rocks, winning events like Broken Skull Ranch, setting the world record for workouts like Murph, being the first person to ever be invited to the CrossFit Games based on merit rather than the qualifying. Um, I just I took part of like 1 year of my life to travel around the world, hosting a television show, doing all the hardest ultra distance races in the world. So I have amassed just a very wide and expansive career with a lot of success in certain areas. I've definitely failed more than most, but I've succeeded at the same time. And I think that contrast of like really big failures has given me the opportunity to push myself towards really great successes as well.
I love that, man. I love that. I've always been a fan, not just because you're awesome at what you do, but you're real and you talk about failing and you got a sense of humor about everything that you do, but you work your ass off and you're real about your background and getting in a little bit of trouble as a kid before you found the motivation to do this. And that's my wheelhouse these days is just trying to get kids to fall in love with something positive instead of having nothing positive to do, and they go in the wrong direction. So appreciate you being real and being a great role model for young and 47-year olds alike. So
Do my
um,
best.
yeah, man. Yeah. Well, thanks for that quick background. I always start interviews with a quick fast five. So quick answers to these. You don't have to put too much thought into it. Okay. You ready for the fast five?
Let's go. I'm catching.
Okay.
Passing right back to you.
Okay. Favorite thing to eat?
Gosh, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Got it. Movie you will probably watch at least five more times in your life.
Gosh, got to be Braveheart.
Nice. Nice. Music for workouts, running. Yes, no, and what's your favorite?
It's got to be techno. Like you have to get into a trance-based mindset, and
Yep.
noise and lyrics not necessary. Just this beat, and once you
Yep.
get into the rhythm, you can get into the ride.
Yep, yep, I'm there with you. I lived in Germany in '98, playing one soccer season, and fell in love with Paul Oakenfold, and it's been a lifelong love affair ever since. So,
There you
um,
go.
most beautiful place you've been?
Lost Coast Trail, Northern California.
Ooh, wow, wow, okay. And I know you've been all over the world, so that's kudos to Northern California right there. Um,
Crazy.
last one, favorite athlete or sports team?
Rory Bozio, my old team partner on Boundless. Probably the most impressive human being in the entire world. This girl buried all of the guys with a smile on her face, and you couldn't take her down.
Wow, that's amazing.
Superstar. Yep.
That's as good a compliment as you can get, right from Hunter,
Yep.
right there. Okay, we're going into the meat of this thing. As you know, I am a rookie OCR. I've done this stupid challenge to myself to do the Spartan Ultra 50K in Big Fork, Montana this year. Not to try to win or be impressive, but only to survive. So here are some questions from my ignorant background about all this stuff, but I know that there's a lot of people watching who might be hopefully inspired to do a 5K or a 10K this year. Maybe my goal is to get some people to escape the elliptical, and even parents my age or folks who spend more time in front of the computer than anything else. So here are a few questions that I know I've wondered, and so I'm thinking that other people would wonder as well. For
Yep.
you, let's start with nutrition. How do you describe your intake? Are you a vegan, a carnivore, something in between? Like, how would you describe your nutrition?
I'm probably the worst person to ask because, at a certain level, when you're moving so much, you need to eat so much. So
Yeah,
my intake has to do a lot with like sugars and breads and orange juices and mass gainers and maple syrup on top of everything, honey in my coffee. We have to eat so much.
right. Yeah.
When I'm
When I'm
training,
training.
my shirts get baggy on me,
Wow.
and it's one of those kind of things where it's a fight to keep yourself alive.
Yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
the one thing I would tell most people is hydration is the number one thing you should start with every single day.
yeah,
Water is what is basically moving everything, connecting everything together in your body. There's no per gram per unit of value that's going to match good water. And when I say also, water sometimes isn't enough. You need to supplement it with your electrolytes and things to enhance your performance. And that's why I was inspired to start my own supplement company a couple of years ago. I personally just start every single day focusing on water first and then packing food on top of that. And if you can get water down, you can take the rest down.
I love that. Water first. That's great, man. I'm gonna take that. Take that. Okay, here's one for you. This might be a hard one, but what would you say has been your hardest challenge or event that you have taken on?
Um, Here's one of them. I keep this bib on me all the time. It's the hardest mountain bike race in the world, and I dropped out. But the one that really, and I keep it there to motivate me, to remind myself, like, Hunter, you're going back for that. Um, But there was this cross country ski race in Greenland, in the Arctic Circle, like up to -4 degree, down to -40 degree weather. And I didn't
Yes.
know how to cross country ski. I lied on my application. And it was, 25 to 35 miles a day on skis. And I was freezing to death. I only had a cotton Reebok hoodie. I was crying. I was fighting. I was fighting for my life.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most fondest memories because I project myself to that place all the time and say, hey, buddy, at least you're not in Greenland in a cotton hoodie freezing to death. At least you're not sleeping in a tent at -30 degree weather. I remember I brought a beer can in with me just to sip on it and just like, this is all I have. This is
Yeah.
all I have left.
Yeah.
Um, and it's one of those kind of things where it's just so raw and simple. You don't need obstacles. You just need to put yourself through it, and you'll find so many truths about yourself. So I think about that day all the time.
Man, so that one even more so, and the mountain bike race, because it's just so grueling, or what was so crazy
This
hard about that one?
this is a map of it, and it is 90 miles and 23,000 feet of climbing across the French Alps. And
Uh,
it was during a heat wave. I mean, it's like terrain like you're going to race up in Montana. And the mountains, like, they don't look like the mountains you're used to. They just are like this, and you have to just all the way
uh,
up. And it was unrelenting. And the fact that I was watching people twice my age, three times my age do it, it was one of these kind of things that was breaking me down physically and mentally.
yeah,
And it made me also just appreciate that lifestyle out there. Like, people have been doing this forever, and that's how they've like grown accommodated and accustomed to this kind of challenge. And as a young ego-based man, I was like, how is this possible? Um, and it just reminds me of the beauty of it. Two
yeah,
wheels and some mountains can be a humbling experience. So if you ever want that, just go outside and go get it.
yeah. No doubt, no doubt. Um, what are you train? You just told me about some crazy travel that you're about to take on for some events. What are you training for right now? And what's an average day look like when you're training? Not maybe the day before a race, but what's an average day look like for what you're training for right now?
It depends on the time of year, but right now I would say I train about 3 to 4 hours a day of about 70% cardio, 20%, 20 to 30% strength, 80, 20. So I'm in the gym. Like I was just in the gym and I try to move things as heavy as they possibly can be, but I try not to make myself tired. I get
Mm,
in, I move something heavy, I prove that I'm strong, and then I take that strength and then I go out into the mountains on a bicycle, running, whatever I can just to move.
mm,
And I'm usually with like packs of guys, like just like this, the importance of having a team, holding
hmm.
yourselves accountable, having someone who's strong, having someone who's fast, having someone who's smart, having someone who's funny, and just creating this dynamic of highs and lows that you can all ebb and flow off of each other. Um, and I'll use this kind of style of training and camaraderie to go out, and I'm going to Dubai for this event called the Government Games, which is this big obstacle and like challenge based event. Then I go over to Stockholm to race a High Rocks event, which is this big fitness race. It's like an hour long of running and physical fitness movements. And then I go to Germany to go compete again in that a week later. So, I have to just have this unbreakable engine and a very strong set of muscles to match the energy that's going to be put into each match.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed since you and I hung out before till now, which was probably, I don't know, the better part of 7, 8 years. It seemed like you made a conscious decision to get strong, right? And to
Yeah.
really put on size. And has that just unlocked just a ton more potential for you?
Yeah, I think I was always a bigger guy and I was always trying to go in the direction of everybody else. I have a big frame and I was trying to get skinny so I could
Yeah.
be like skinny people. But then all of a sudden I was like, I have something that they don't have. I should tend to it. I should basically help make this thing flourish. So I made myself stronger and then I added the stamina on top of that strength and I got significantly bigger and my lungs just somehow grew accustomed to the fact that I was a bigger guy and it's been a huge advantage. So I had to look at my strengths and really love them, and then I had to look at my weaknesses and tend to them also. So it was just a cocktail of like know who you are, and then go make a plan for it.
Yeah, right. Embrace your genetics. If you're
Yep.
if you're a grizzly bear, don't try to be a mountain goat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or what do you call yourself? A something pony?
I'm the bulk pony, baby.
That's right, the bulk pony. All right, next question for you, bro. Lesson that you've learned the hard way. Maybe something you can pass on that you had to learn the hard way.
I think losses are lessons. Like,
Mm,
I think that's the biggest thing you got to do is like it can be very humbling to lose and it can be very sad to lose. But in reality, no one remembers your losses the way that you do. So it's just on you. You're owning that loss and you're sitting with that loss. Everyone else has moved on. The people who
mm,
won have moved on. The people who are in the stands have moved on. And you have to move on. You have to learn from that experience and then realize what put you in that place. And if you don't want to be there again, what do you have to do? Hold
mm,
yourself accountable. And because of that, I've amassed all these championships. If I had fallen apart on my first loss and never decided to get back up again, where would I be? Who would I be?
mm,
Um, so I'm just lucky. A couple of years ago, in 2021, I lost my world title and I had been undefeated up until that point. And I was so sad and I was so upset. And I said, Hunter, look at this picture of yourself and really hold yourself accountable. What's wrong in this picture? And rather than sitting there and saying boo hoo, I said, get up and
mm,
go. And I
mm.
did. And then I set the world record the next year. I won the world title back. And I remember that day fondly. I remember this day fondly. So
Mhm.
you got to hold those things tight and not hold them negatively, I guess, is, negative connotations.
Yeah, I love that, man. I try to tell kids I coach in soccer, you're either winning or learning, right? And so for you that's the same thing, but on a much higher level as these little guys. Um, Two more questions for you. The day before a big race, what's that look like for you? Either nutritionally, rest, recovery, prep. What do you have a certain routine that you try to stick to?
I try to not change my daily pattern in the way of like eating, because if you try something new, it's going to usually mess you up. Do what you
Mhm.
know and stick to that. And then I try not to allow myself to get around too many people because I get riled up so easily.
Mm.
You spend your energy tomorrow, not today. So sit on the couch, sit quietly,
Mhm.
read a book. Sometimes that's even stressful. Talk to friends.
Mhm.
Don't allow yourself to get dragged into these conversations of like, hey man, like so and so is looking really fit, or
Hmm.
that race is looking really hard, or I heard the bad weather's coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself around those people because they just want to see how you're going to react. Sit
Hmm.
back, kind of go monk mode for the day.
Yeah. Yep. I love that. I love that. All right. And OCR race day secret for a beginner. Anything stand out to you that you can help a rookie?
I think comfort's king. I
Mm.
think, you got to have the right shoes. I know it's
Mhm.
fun to have a shirtless picture of you muddy with a six pack on or flexing, but like usually wearing a shirt or putting tights on and stuff. Especially if you're going to do this ultra, the
Hmm.
50K,
Yeah.
having the right shoes, having the right socks, having the right shirt on, having the right hydration pack and everything like that, rather than trying to be the person who wants the picture and look cool and stuff.
Hmm.
Man, I promise you, halfway through that race, you're going to be like, gosh, I'm so glad I wore this shirt because I'm
Yeah.
on my 50th obstacle, crawling on my hands and knees and going over rocks and barbed wire and stuff. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, it's unforgiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like I'm trying to scare anybody away, but I'm
Yeah.
just reminding you, put the right stuff on.
Yeah, right, right. I love it. It's about the race, not about the photos, right? You can
Yeah,
take your shirt off after you're done and take all the pictures you want. Right,
exactly.
right. Oh, that's amazing, man. All right. Well, thank you for all these answers. As you travel and as you prep, my last question, just as you're about ready to go off, and then if I go to this race in Montana, do you take everything with you? Do you count on going to a grocery store in Dubai and buying a bunch of food there, or do you take a ton of supplies with you? What have you learned about that?
Well, I've learned to not reliant on things so much that it can mess up my flow if it's not there.
Hmm.
So, meaning that don't be this person where if all of a sudden you don't have your special drink and your special t-shirt and your special, your favorite hat, that you're going to freak out.
Yeah.
I've recognized that, the world is cruel and you will somehow always find a way to forget or, something mishap will happen along the way to getting where you want to go. So I let go of that.
Yeah.
Um, and because of that, you know what? Like I really just show up with my favorite pair of shoes and my favorite pair of shorts, and then whatever else happens, happens.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've traveled the world and had to eat some really, really weird food and be in sleep in really not so comfortable places. But as long as you have that mindset of just you've got the few basics you need, you'll get through it.
Yeah. Right. Right. Amazing. Well, I got a whole page full of notes here. Hunter McIntyre, thank you 1,000 times over for hanging out, sharing some wisdom, some knowledge. We'll be cheering for you. Will you be posting away from this trip and follow your social media? How can we find you? How can we follow you?
If you type in Hunter McIntyre or Hunt the Sheriff on almost any social media channel, we have a whole camera team following it. You'll be able to see our adventures in Dubai, all across Europe. We make sure that we put on fun stuff so that everyone can watch and participate from afar. My mom's very, very interested, so if she's getting the content, you'll get the content.
Amazing, amazing. And are you still doing coaching for fitness and OCR stuff? How can people find you if they want to get serious about this and maybe work with you?
This company right here, it's called House Hunters Academy of Strength, and we provide information on how to train for all of these events. Make sure that we bring you guys into our community, really support you from there. Another company that I'm really proud of is my supplement company called Builder, and our motto is building better athletes. We're a company that's like athlete first. A lot of supplement companies are for bodybuilders or health based, which is all great. Don't get me wrong, but we
Yeah.
want to make sure that athletes, when you're on the field, when you're at the start line, that you guys feel prepared because you're in your cup. So I'm proud of that company also. So check it out.
Amazing, amazing. Well, if you guys are serious about getting better and improving and learning, then reach out to Hunter. I can't imagine a better coach out there than Hunter, who's actually leading by pulling instead of just pushing and kicking doors down. So, hey, brother, thank you so much for your time, man. This is awesome. Best of luck on your trip, and we can't wait to watch.
Thanks, brother. You too.
Okay, okay. All the best.
See you, brother.